As the world celebrates the Women's Month and mark the day set aside by the United Nations as the International Women's Day, we join in the commemoration by celebrating the milestones achieved in women empowerment and gender equality. We, however, sadly reflect on the harsh realities that the global pandemic and current spate of insecurity meted out on women and girls in our communities, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, which has affected farmers, small-scale businesses, students, especially the girl child. While the rest of the world is slowly recovering from the devastation of the pandemic, we in the north are grappling with a lot of vices, ranging from incessant kidnap of school children, with girls often being the target to communities, losing their source of livelihoods, their sense of dignity and humanity, because some of them do not have access to their basic livelihoods, and we advocate for an enabling environment where these children can thrive for their future. This development is responsible for the surge in cases of mental illness, depression, and trauma amongst women, girls, and other victims of these vices. Mental health is an important aspect of our socio-economic lives, yet we do not pay as much attention to it as is required. The International Women's Day presents another opportunity for us as a people to take actions that will finally put an end to the pains and suffering of women and girls who go through all of this. The United Nations theme for this year, 2021, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a Post-COVID World, and the global campaign theme, Choose to Challenge, are all indications that every one of us have a role to play in creating a better environment for women and girls to thrive. Paying attention to mental illness, depression, and other forms of traumas is a crucial part of recovery post-COVID-19. The pain of a woman is the tears and agony of a nation. All our efforts at development must continue to have the welfare of women and children at the center. We must never allow ethnic or religious sentiments distract us from facing the issues that affect us all. So I would ask, what do you choose to challenge? Happy International Women's Day. Well, I choose to challenge the following. Girl-child education remains paramount to us. I choose to challenge insecurity, and I urge other non-profits, government officials, community influencers, security personnel, neighborhood personnel, elders, our traditional institutions, our security architecture, and everybody to be involved in the fight against insecurity. Profiling criminal activities on tribal sentiments amidst our realities is an eyesore. We indulge in our collectivity that humanity first. Let peace, equity, justice, and fairness reign. I choose to challenge this. We need to pay a lot of attention on women's mental health. Mental illness, trauma, and depression are real. Mental illness is real. Traumas, it could be health traumas, it could be psychological traumas, it can be physical traumas, and it could be emotional traumas. And depression are real. I choose to challenge. We hope that we can see mental health issues taken very, very seriously. I choose to challenge that our girls deserve to be and deserve to remain in school. It's been very heartbreaking when we flip on our social media pages, on print and all forms of media, day in, day out, reportings of kidnapping, child molestation, sexual abuse, death, killings and maimings, and all forms of criminalities. And in that, we can imagine the horrific experiences these girls and boys, especially lately, have had. It's saddening when we read the numbers that since the scourge of this bestiality and cruel, inhuman behaviors over 1,000 school children who have remained primarily the target of these miscreants who kidnap these kids. We need to also think of their psychological being. I choose to challenge those who want us to give up the fight, that every woman's voice counts in this journey. We're mothers, we're aunties, we're role models, we're grandparents to many. So we need to lend our voices. We're all in this together. The incessant kidnapping and killings are of grave concern. Choose to challenge. Your voice matters. We are all in this together. Pay attention to children's mental health and trauma-related issues. There's one thing being kidnapped and rescued. There's another about their mental well-being. I choose to challenge, and I indulge you all to challenge, that we shall not allow the enemies of education, the enemies of humanity, stop our girl children, and to some extent, our boy children from going to school. Education in its entirety as the passport to human survival, dignity in an enabling environment. We challenge our leaders and leaders to the led to choose this challenge, that environment, that enabling environment is mandatory as a fundamental human right for such basic amenities to be of service to our children for their posterity. Girls in northern Nigeria deserve to remain in school. We need to stop profiling criminal activities on tribal sentiments amidst our reality, which is an eyesore. We really must define criminality for criminality. And we solicit and hope we can see firm leadership in earnest. But it is our collective duty. Speak to your neighbors. Speak to your friends. We do not need to shield criminals. Be them as they are. We do not need to shield criminals. We need to support, come together, and provide assistance where we can in curbing the menace and also supporting survivors, warriors, and victims. Their mental well-being is of essence. Their survival and dignity is of essence. We do not need to play politics with the lives of innocent people. I am particularly disturbed as we champion the cause for government schools, which I normally would say the LEA schools. The children in the LEA schools, largely children from the rural poor, deserve the same education that we got. We're hoping we can have a country where our narrative will change, and not a narrative where the country trains you and that renders you redundant. Hence why some hands are not on deck. So we choose to challenge our mothers out there, our sisters, our friends, our neighbors, all across communities. Let's keep building bridges. Let's lend our voices. We can try. It is common knowledge that when the women weep, a nation bleeds. Women have been weeping, mothers have been weeping, and our nation is bleeding. But all hope is not lost. If those who are privileged and in a position of privilege will do the right thing while we work to support where we can. We are not supposed to be celebrating the Women's Month, but we're going to make our voices heard. We're marking that date, and we hope our voices will be heard. I hope it can be soothing and healing to the bereaved. I hope it can be soothing and encouraging to victims, to warriors, to survivors, and we will strive to do our utmost best to contribute our quota in salvaging the rot that is eating up our communities. Women are the bedrock of every society. So many mothers have lost their livelihoods. Mothers have lost their husbands. Mothers have lost their children. Mothers are being divorced. Mothers are confronting drug issues of their children. Mothers are confronting rape issues of their children, both men and women. Mothers are confronting the death of their spouses, of their parents. In a nutshell, people are dying. Women are weeping. For every child killed, an average of 10 mothers are crying in a community, be it in the forest, in the rural towns, or in the urban cities. A lot of women are losing their livelihoods. They can't go to farm to feed, even those who can't do the commercial feeding. It is a nightmare. Mothers don't even have a sense of belonging in displaced areas. There's so many mothers who are languishing in IDP camps, crying daily from the horror of the wars, insurgencies, criminality, and then they're confronted with horrors in their temporary abode, where some of their children are being raped daily, or some of their children are being starved. Mothers are weeping because they're confronted with all sorts of ailments. So we advocate for affordable and quality health care, especially for the rural poor. We advocate for incentives, more incentives to support the women folk. We advocate for guidance and counseling, therapy and rehabilitation for mothers, children, adult elites, which is largely ignored, alongside all sorts of support, moral, emotional, and financial. A lot of people sleep with their eyes closed, and what affects one affects us all. It is bad enough that many of us walk with the sense of concern that we have been profiled, either by virtue of the positions we hold in the society or by virtue of our associations. So this menace is what is affecting all women and the women folk. But like we know, a woman is a very, very strong vessel. A vessel through which her children comes to the world. A vessel through which a community is empowered and educated. So we'll come out strong, hopefully, but we need to do our bits. We need to raise our voices. I am sure we all will be amazed as what our individual voices and collective voices can do, and how it can heal, how it can support, and how it can encourage the broken. Congratulations to all of us who are striving very hard to impact on human lives. And we look forward to a fruitful month of March, which is the Women's Month. Congratulations on the International Women's Day.